Jesus carried our sorrows. Isaiah bears witness to the suffering of the servant of God. He had no beauty or majesty to attract us to him, nothing in his appearance that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected, a man of suffering and familiar with pain. Like one from whom people hid their faces, he was despised, and we held him in low esteem. Surely he took up our pain and bore our suffering. The monastery of St. Anthony in Colmar in Alsace was noted for its care of the sick and dying from debilitating diseases of the skin. And in the early 1500s, the German artist Matthias Grunewald painted an altarpiece for the monastery. And Grunewald's great work features a depiction of the crucifixion which at first glance looks little different from 1,000 other similar works of devotion. Jesus, covered only by a loincloth, hangs from the cross with the crown of thorns on his bowed head and huge nails through his hands and feet. But if you get up close enough to see the painting in detail, you find that there is something altogether shocking. The skin of the Christ hanging on the cross is diseased. It is covered in disfiguring sores, just like those on the bodies of the poor treated by the monks of St. Anthony. Jesus takes up their pain and bears their suffering. Jesus carries the seemingly endless litany of our pain and sorrow, whether through injustice, cruelty, carelessness, the pandemic, or some apparently indecipherable nexus of causes and effects. Jesus takes up our pain and bears our suffering. The sorrow of the care home resident kept apart from those they love. The pain of bereavement, of seeing a loved one in decline, of a wounded relationship. The pain of being misunderstood, ignored, taken for granted, of feeling worthless. The pain of being cut adrift from the place you call home and the people you love. The pain of the young boy with a disabling stammer who asks his father for a watch on his birthday, only to be told that he cannot have a watch until he has learned to speak properly. The pain of a distant rejection never forgotten. And that especially disabling kind of pain which comes with fear. Fear of debt, of a medical diagnosis, of death, of being alone. Fear of pretty much anything that tomorrow might bring. For sighing comes to me instead of food. My groans pour out like water. What I feared has come upon me. What I dreaded has happened to me. I have no peace, no quietness. I have no rest, but only turmoil. My tears have been my food day and night. And in the days before his crucifixion, Jesus arrives at the village of Bethany, just an hour's walk from Jerusalem. Mary and Martha are in severe distress at the death of their brother Lazarus. Jesus finds Mary crying. He is deeply moved in spirit and is troubled by what she is going through. And Mary shows Jesus where Lazarus is buried. He bursts into tears. The Son of God joins Mary in her pain. Her sorrow is his. And yet he knows that in a short moment Lazarus will be alive again. Mary will have her brother back. Tomorrow will be good. Yet, in the moment, standing together at the graveside, Mary is in pain, and Jesus weeps with her. Surely he takes up our pain and bears our suffering. The sign on the cross says, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. A king reigning from a cross, despised, mocked, abandoned, alone. Stephen Cottrell writes, the cross was his throne. Jesus had the keys of the kingdom in one pierced hand and the balm of healing in the other. Surely he takes up our pain and bears our suffering. Our crucified King meets us in our pain. Come to me, all you who are weary. his pierced hands embrace us. And he takes us on a journey, and the servant king carries us in his pierced hands. The path we take is strangely both ours alone, yet taken by all of the saints. And by our king's decree, we share the burdens of the ones we meet along the way. And at journey's end, we find that there is no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, because the old order has passed away, and we are home at last. Surely he takes up our pain and bears our suffering. Then I looked and heard the voice of many angels, numbering thousands upon thousands and 10,000 times 10,000. They encircled the throne and the living creatures and the elders. In a loud voice they were saying, "Worthy is the Lamb who was slain, to receive power and wealth and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and praise." Then I heard every creature in heaven and on the earth and on the sea and all that is in them saying, "To him who sits on the throne and to the Lamb be praise and honor and glory and power forever and ever." The 4 living creatures said, "Amen," and the elders fell down and worshipped.